In this episode, we talk about skills learned in school, startup equity, and international shipping. Hey everybody, welcome to episode 29 of the AskEngine show. We're excited to kick in. It's a fresh week for us here. Did you have a good weekend?
Yeah, it was good. Didn't do much anything, but it was good.
Let's dive in.
Yeah.
What are we doing?
First question from our
small talk. I don't like you guys.
What skills did you learn in school, and then what skills did you learn by running your own business?
So I'm a microbiology undergrad and an MD. So I didn't learn anything in medical school or undergrad to help as an entrepreneur. So I really just learned how to learn in school. That was the biggest thing, and learned, self-confidence, how to talk to people, how to network, all that kind of stuff. So to me, without medical school, I couldn't do what I do today. I mean, yeah, it helps a little bit when you walk in, you put a pitch deck on somebody's desk and it says, what, you're a doctor? You must at least be some fairly competent entrepreneur in order to leave medicine to do it. So I'm pretty unique in that, I don't care what you study. It's really just learning how to learn, because entrepreneurship, to me, is just this constant cycle of new thing comes up, so you have to educate yourself on it and move on. And I kind of wish I would have had some underpinnings of a business degree, which I never did. Inc. magazine and TechCrunch and every book that I read, and then coupled with real world experience, that was my school. What are you guys' thoughts? What did y'all learn?
I think you're the only one who actually uses their degree.
Yeah, exactly. You're the only one.
My background is in computer science, and I use it for how I approach projects. But I mean, I'm not pushing any code at all, which is interesting. Yeah. And I think what I pulled away from there was how to approach problems, how to network, like John said, and then everything else is self-taught and just from on-the-job learnings.
And your undergrad's in what, zoology, comparative anatomy, or what?
I was biology psychology for 3 years and then switched to early childhood education and finished with that. So
well, you use some of that here in the office with me and Blake.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I think it goes back to I learned how to learn, and for me it was learning how to interact with people. Was more than anything. The school, in my opinion, most of what you're going to learn in school is going to be obsolete by the time you get out of school.
Yeah. And
so learning how to learn, and then also just learning how to function with other people, and also the handshakes and the connections that you make is imperative. If you're going to go to school, think of it as a way to reach up and reach down, with the people that you're interacting with your professors, everybody else.
Well, schools themselves are trying to figure out this thing.
Yeah.
So I'm a member of the Dean's Board for the Sam Walton College of Business, and we had a meeting last Friday on how the university can plug into the entrepreneurial ecosystem. What were the kids lacking when they come out? And boy, there were a lot of opinions. There weren't a lot of answers. So yeah, I mean, school, learn to learn, entrepreneurship, almost 90 or 100% experiential. Just dive in and go do it, and that's how. This is how you're made. You solve it, and I don't think there's anything you can read to make it easier. So
yeah.
All right.
Question 2. Taking equity and not getting any pay, what % should you look at if you're joining a startup?
Half of it.
You're a co-founder at that point.
Exactly.
Really,
if you're coming in and working in a pre-product company that has no revenue, you ought to be a co-founder. I mean, maybe half is a little aggressive, but it's not 1%. That's ridiculous. Maybe if you're working with a team like us, who's done this before and sold a business for $100+ million, but no, pay me for my work, or I'm an equal partner with you in this.
Yeah. And to provide some context, so I picked this question because he's a designer and he's talking about an app development, and he was saying that the app's success relies heavily on his design, without the other other people, and they're kind of dead in the water without him. So honestly,
maybe 75% then. If it's dead and didn't go launch, you're crucial.
Yeah, I mean, I think your ownership level, number one, and you said it in one of the first episodes that we ever did, that if you're promised equity, you need to consider and treat that as $0, because 99% of the time it's going to be
or
$0.
discounted heavily. I mean, that's the thing. To me, if you're going to make, let's say, $30,000 or $50,000, you call it $50,000 if you went to work at a boring existing company. You go work for the startup for 40% less than that. Go work for $30,000 or $35,000 and take equity, hopefully way more than devalue the equity. But golly, if you're working for $0, you sound like a co-founder. You don't sound like an employee in a 30-person startup. If you're an intern and you get college credit for it, yeah, work for free. But we even pay most of our interns, actually. So, anyway.
And also think about it this: if they can't afford to pay you and they're not seeking funding, how is it going to be a successful venture? Because ultimately, if they don't have the cash flow to be able to pay people who are working for them, are they going to have the cash flow to be able to market and grow the product and the business itself?
Yeah, worst case, take X% of equity. Think about the waterfall of the business. I mean, maybe you put a royalty on the first bit of revenue. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to do $10,000 worth of work for you. I'm going to put a $50,000 note against the business because there's maybe a 20% chance of this thing actually working. So a 20% or $50,000 first money in kind of loan against it. That's another way to do it. But I would be ruthless in your negotiation here. You hold all the cards.
Yeah.
What's next?
Last question. Am I leaving money on the table on my Shopify store by not offering international shipping?
I love it. Next. What's next?
Yeah.
It's like a slave driver here.
We've got work to do, and these people don't want to hear us banter. I mean, we're answering questions.
Just going to answer simple questions. So, sorry. Are you leaving out money not including international shipping? I actually wrote a post on this, so I'll take the majority of this. Yes and no. You've got to look at it as an opportunity cost and weigh that against the profitability that you're going to have opening up that market. When you're breaking into a new market, you've got to consider more than simply, are these more people to sell to? Are you going to be competitive in a pricing environment from yours versus theirs? Are you going to be able to service the people just as well as you're servicing or hopefully servicing your current or native market? Are you going to be able to fall into rules, regs, policies? There's so much to take into consideration when you're opening up into a new market other than just, I can sell to these people. If it's as simple as clicking a button and opening your store up to people who speak the same language or getting your store put into a different language, go for it. But you need to look and see.
It's not that simple.
Yeah.
It never is, even Canada. So we had about $100 million revenue business in my last place, and we said, let's sell into Canada. Now, I remember this vividly, and here I am, the CEO, I greenlight this project. I'm like, okay, this is one developer, and this takes 6 hours. And not so at all.
It took months.
Oh, it was 2 months, and I think we pulled the plug on the project before we actually launched it. Is that true?
Yeah.
I mean, it seems like, boy, I mean, you could have gone to Canada and mined for maple syrup in the time. Good Lord, it was terrible. So yeah, there's a lot of headaches. I'm not the right guy. Your post, link it down on this, but yeah, usually the answer is no. Sadly,
yes with an asterisk.
It should be yes, and it should be super easy, and it should be checking a box, and maybe there's an off-the-shelf solution you can use, but. No, not in our experience.
Yeah, and also if you're going to be selling in Europe and you're not native to Europe, you need to check out the new regulations that have been rolled out. We'll link that down below in the show notes. Question of the day, Mr. Speedy, you got one for us?
No, I don't.
Okay.
Never do.
No question of the day for y'all.
What? No, you have to come up with it.
Okay, question of the day. Talking about equity, I think it's an interesting conversation. So, for people who have started, co-founded a business with friends or with other people, what were your top negotiation, tactics or strategies? How did you walk into the meeting? How did you articulate your value, and how did that conversation go? And what pointers can you give to someone who's looking to have that conversation with a co-founder or a friend or whoever they're starting a business with? Thank you all for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow.